Writing blog articles consistently is one of the hardest parts of growing a website. You need ideas, you need keywords, you need to actually sit down and write everything. And on top of that, you still have to make sure it's optimized for SEO so it can actually rank. And if you're doing all of that manually, it can easily take 1 or 2 hours just to write a single article, sometimes even longer if you're researching properly. Now imagine trying to do that 10 times. That's basically your entire day gone just writing content. And if you're running a blog, a niche site, or even doing client work, that kind of workload just isn't realistic long term. That's exactly where tools like DraftHorse AI comes in. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use DraftHorse AI to generate multiple SEO optimized articles very quickly. And I'm also going to show you the real side of it, the limitations, what the free plan actually gives you, and how to still make this work even if you're just starting out. Because a lot of videos actually skip that part. So by the end of this video, you know exactly how to use it, what to expect, and how to actually take advantage of it properly. So let's get started. First, simply open your browser and go to the DraftHorse AI website. So once you're there, you then have to click on Start for free. And once you do this, you then be taken to the sign up page. From here, simply enter your first name, last name, email, and password. So there's also a field asking how you heard about the platform. You can just type anything here, it's not that important. Then click Create Account once you're done. So once you log in, you then land on the main dashboard. Now at first glance, this might look a bit confusing, especially if you're used to tools like ChatGPT where you just type in something and get a response. So this is actually structured differently. So DraftHorse is designed specifically for SEO content at scale. So instead of focusing on one article at a time, it's built around generating multiple articles from a list of keywords. That's the key difference here. So on the left, you see different sections like sites, tutorials, bowling, team, and affiliate. Now before we jump into creating content, let me quickly explain this so you can actually understand what you're looking at. So the sites section is where you actually create and manage your content. Tutorials has guides on things like keyword research and publishing, which can really be helpful if you're new. Bowling is where you manage your plan and credits. And team is for adding other users if you're working with people. Then lastly, affiliate is just for earning commissions if you refer others. So for this video, we are mainly going to focus on sites. So go ahead and click on sites, and from here you can then manage different websites from one account. And you usually see something like a demo site that's already created, or you can also create a new one if you want to organize things better. So simply go ahead and click into your site, and once you're inside, this is where the main feature is. You see something called Create an Article Report. So this is basically the core feature of the platform. Instead of writing articles one by one, you simply create a report, add multiple keywords, and generate content for all of them at once. So think of it like batching your content creation. Now let's actually go through the process step by step. First, simply give your report a name. So this is just for your own organization, so you can call it something like tech articles or SEO test or anything you want. Next, choose your language. So for me, I'm going to choose English. Alright, so once you do that, you then be able to see the report type. So you have options like keyword, top list, and outline. Now if you're just starting out, simply stick with keyword. This is the simplest and most useful option. It tells the AI to generate the full articles based on the keywords that you're going to provide. And you can also add a call to action. This is completely optional, but it's useful if you want to add something like check this out, buy now, or learn more included in your articles. Now scroll down to the keyword section because this is the most important part of the entire process. This is where you decide what your content will be about. So let's add a few example keywords. So things like best budget smartphones in 2026. Then how to improve Wi-Fi speed. Then best free video editing apps. Okay. And then how to grow on YouTube for beginners. And best productivity apps for students. Alright, now ideally you'd want to do some keyword research before this, But for now, we're just going to be using examples to show how it works. So you can also import keywords from a spreadsheet, which is very useful if you already have a list that's prepared. Now, once you've added your keywords, simply go ahead and click Create Report. Now, this is where something important actually happens. If you're using the free plan, you're going to hit a limitation. You'll notice that you can only generate a small number of articles per month, usually around 2 articles. So if you try to generate more, you're going to get a message saying you need more credits. So this is something a lot of people don't realize at first. So when you hear 10 articles in 10 minutes, that's technically possible, but only if you have enough credits or if you're on a paid plan. So on the free plan, you're pretty much limited. But that doesn't mean the tool itself isn't useful. You can still use those 2 articles to test the quality and see if it fits your workflow. Now, once your articles are generated, you're then going to be able to see them listed right here. So you then be able to open them, read through them, and even export them. There are also options to download them as a zip file or export them directly to your site. Now, let's actually talk about the quality of these articles. So when you open one, you'll then be able to see that it's structured properly. It usually has an introduction, headings, section, and even a conclusion. So it's not just random text, it's actually formatted like a real blog post. And that's a big advantage, but let's be honest for a second, it's still AI generated content. So sometimes it might feel a bit generic or a bit repetitive. That's completely normal, and this is one of the most common complaints people have. But the real mistake is actually expecting it to be perfect right away. The best way to use it is to treat it as a first draft, and not the final version, guys. So simply go in, edit the introduction, maybe even add your own examples, adjust the tone, and even make it sound more like you. So even just spending 5 minutes editing each article can make a huge difference. Now let's actually compare it to something like ChatGPT. With ChatGPT, you usually generate 1 article at a time. You guide it step by step, maybe even ask it to rewrite sections and build the article piece by piece. That gives you more control, but it also takes a lot more time. With DraftHorse, you're literally doing things in bulk, you give it a list of keywords, and it generates multiple articles automatically. So it's much faster, especially if your goal is to scale content. That's really the main advantage here, speed and volume. But the trade-off is that you really might have to do some editing afterward. Now let's talk about a simple workflow that you can actually follow. First, you'd simply have to come up with a list of keywords. So simply try to focus on things that your audience actually is searching for. Then input those keywords into DraftHorse AI, then generate your articles, and after that, simply go through each one and make small improvements. So simply fix things that sound off, add details, maybe even include some examples or personal insights. Then once you're done, you then have to publish the articles on your website, and that's it. So instead of spending hours writing from scratch, you're just reviewing and improving. So let me actually give you a few tips so you can get better results. So first, simply focus on low competition keywords. This gives your content a better chance of ranking, especially if your site is new. Second, be specific with your keywords, guys. So the more specific they are, the more targeted your articles will be. Third, don't just copy and paste. Always edit your content before publishing. And finally, guys, stay consistent. If you're generating content faster, consistency is going to be the key for growth. Now, let's go back to the main question. Can you actually write 10 articles in 10 minutes? Well, the honest answer is yes, but only if you have enough credits. So on the free plan, you're pretty much limited to a few articles, but once you upgrade or get more credits, that's when this tool really becomes powerful. Because you can literally generate content in bulk without spending hours writing, and that's where the real time saving comes in. Instead of doing everything manually, you're literally focusing on strategy and improvement. So overall, DraftHorse AI is a very powerful tool if your goal is to scale content production quickly, but don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. It's fast, efficient, and very useful when used the right way. So yeah, that's how you can use DraftHorse AI to generate multiple articles and speed up your content creation process instantly. So if you found this helpful, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.